Hey everybody, welcome to Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, John Corelli. My hockey jersey on again. Tonight is an elimination game, Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals. I'm hoping for a different result than last year's Eastern Conference Finals, where Tampa Bay won in 6 games. Well, it's going to be different. If Tampa Bay wins tonight, it'll be in 6 games. So tonight is in could possibly be the last game in the old Coliseum, what they call the old barn, the Islanders' home stadium out on Long Island. Or I shouldn't say stadium. It's not a stadium. Stadiums are open. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I don't know. But I'm hoping they can stave off elimination and at the very least leave the old barn with a victory and not a loss. That will be torn down as soon as playing is done, and they are currently working on a new rink in Belmont, near Belmont Park, or maybe where Belmont Park used to be. I assume that Belmont Park's still there. It has to be, right? It has to be part of the Triple Crown in horse racing. So it's in Belmont, which is on Long Island. So that's good. They're keeping it kind of true to form. They were playing in Barclays Center, which is where the former New Jersey, now Brooklyn Nets play. And it just wasn't working there. They didn't do well when they were there a few years ago. So got them back in the old barn. They've been really good the past 2 years that they've been in there. And hopefully the new home will be great. But yeah, I figured I'd just talk about hockey. I was on a podcast yesterday called Hockey Shticks, which is a great name for a podcast, where they bring in comics like myself that know a thing or two about hockey, and we talk hockey. And it was a lot of fun. The host's name is Brett Hiker, who's a really funny dude. If you get to see him, check him out if he comes to your town. His name is Brett Hiker, Hikerer, Hikeer. Sounds like a hockey chant right there. Let's play. Let's hit some people. Let's go. Any of you that do follow hockey will know that the Islanders 2 nights ago got absolutely lit up by the Tampa Bay Lightning, 8-0. Good Lord. That was one of those games where eventually you're just laughing. I mean, it was rotten they scored in the first 2 minutes. 18:01, I think Tampa Bay scored off a rebound, and then they put a couple others in the back of the net. Next thing you know, it's 3-0. And I know this team. This team has heart, and they keep coming because their coach Barry Trotz is that type of guy. He goes, "You don't quit. You quit, you don't have a job anymore. We'll get a guy from one of our minor league teams, and we'll get a guy that plays hard. If you don't want to play hard, you can just leave. You retire or go down to the minor leagues or whatever." These guys, they keep coming. They keep fucking coming. They came out hard in the second period, and like right at the beginning of the second period, they hit one post and missed, and then immediately after hit the second post. They hit each post on each side of the goal, and they both clanked out. I'm like, we're not going to win this game. If we can't make it 3-1 on those 2 opportunities, it's just not meant to happen. And yet it ended up 8-0, which is kind of unheard of. When it comes to hockey, if you're not a hockey fan, I think the best way to equate hockey to football is each goal is pretty much a touchdown. So if it's like 4-1, that's like 28-7. That's kind of a rout, and 8-0 is like 56-0. It's an absolute slaughter. And everyone's like, well, how's this going to affect the Islanders? They're going to be fine. I really do. When it's one of those games where absolutely nothing goes right for your team, everything goes right for the other team, and you just got to chalk it up to one of those games. And so I don't think it's going to break their confidence. I don't think it's going to break their goalie's confidence. They had both goalies in there, and they just had to keep them. They usually try to pull a goalie when the game's not going well. They pulled Semyon Varlamov, who's their starting goalie, just near the end of the third period the first period after he allowed in the third goal, brought in his countryman Ilya Sorokin, and he got lit up too. It's just crazy. But this is the kind of stuff we talked about, and we tried to make some jokes along the way. We tried to make it funny on that podcast. So that'll come out next week, and I'd love for you guys to see it. If you like my Garfield-type voice, maybe you'll like it. I couldn't get the Zoom to work for some reason for the camera, so that was annoying, so you don't get to see my beautiful face. I really was upset because I was like all geared up and had shit in the background of my room and had the mic set up, and then shit wouldn't work, and I had to scream. I didn't scream at Logan. I screamed, though, because I was pissed. I was just really upset. I couldn't get the technology to work, and Logan got it to work, and Brett and the producer of the show, or at least the technical guy for the show, John Rosenberger, were both very, very, very patient with me. So we got started about 20 minutes late, and there we go. That's welcome to the world of modern comedy and podcasting and Zoom shows and all that. It's kind of wild. Uh, but yeah, so I want to talk more about hockey and what's going on in the playoffs. As many of you know, especially if you're watching in Denver, the Avalanche looked like they were unbeatable. First 6 games, they came out just stomping people. They swept their first series. I don't even remember who it was. That's how fast the series was over. In the second series with the Vegas Golden Knights, they were up 2-0, 2 games to nothing. They dominated both games, or at least the first game they dominated. First game was like 7-1. It was insane. And then I think the second game was closer. Then the next thing you know, they go out to Vegas, they lose both games, and they come back here for game 5, and they lose that, and went back to Vegas, and it's over. 6 games. They win the first 2 and then lose the next 4. It was crazy. And Avalanche really looked dominant. They won the President's Cup this year. You know what that is? The President's Cup is basically the highest rated team in the league, the team that ended up with the most points. They have a system for points. You guys probably don't care. It's basically 2 points for a win, 0 points for a loss, and I think you get a point when you have an overtime win, if I remember correctly. I don't think you get a point for an overtime loss. It might be 2 points for an overtime win and 1 for an overtime loss. I could be wrong. It used to be ties. They used to have ties in hockey, not even that long ago. I'd say maybe 10 years ago. It was kind of weird, so they got rid of that. And that's another thing. I know I've talked about hockey sometimes here, and just that hockey makes common sense rule changes like a lot of the major sports don't seem to do, especially football, and it drives me crazy. Hockey has gotten a lot of the fighting out of the game, a lot of the obstruction, so now, because they know people like scoring, and so they're trying to get, 1-0 games are really generally a thing of the past unless the goalie's absolutely on fire. So people are, and most hockey fans, they met a middle ground where most old school hockey fans can deal with a 3-2 or a 4-3 game. It's not up to like 6-7 games are not there yet, and they shouldn't be. So hockey's done some smart. They've opened up the game offensively to help score a few more goals. You can do a 2-line pass now, whereas you weren't allowed to back when I was young. That's when you have the blue lines and the center red line. You couldn't pass across 2 of those lines. It was illegal, and so it made it can really slow the game. You couldn't do a long pass and get an odd man or a breakaway situation as easily. So we have those now, and I like that. Yeah. Let's talk about the playoffs a little bit, and then I'll round up, because I'm sorry I'm way behind. Well, I'm not way behind. I'm a couple days behind on these. We'll see how I do. I mean, how many opinions can one guy have? My goal is to have 365 by the end of the year. I'm halfway there, I guess, which is all right. I'm close to halfway. I'm about 10 away from halfway, because today's 172. So yeah, here we are. I got to talk about. I'm not a big fan of warm weather teams, even though it's hard to argue that the Avalanche are not a warm weather team. But at least it snows here. It snowed crazy here in March. If anyone remembers, March 14th, it was nuts. A couple of feet. And it was like a record. Not a record, but it was like the 3rd or 4th biggest snowfall in Denver ever. So that was kind of cool, and we get that. I can't cheer for teams like Tampa Bay and Vegas where it never snows. I can't cheer for the Arizona Coyotes or the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, that corporate BS, or the LA Kings. The only warm weather team I actually like is the Florida Panthers, because I like their logo, and they used to have some old Islander guys running the show down there. So that's the only warm weather team I like. None of the rest, I don't like any of the rest of them. I think it should snow if you have hockey in your town. That's just my old school dumb belief. If the Islanders can't win this whole thing, I do want Montreal Canadiens to win it. The Montreal Canadiens are up 3-2 in their series with Vegas, and nobody thought Montreal would do anything in these playoffs, and they have just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. They were down 3-1 in their last playoff series with Toronto, and they came back to win that series, which was a big deal. And then nobody gave them a chance against Vegas. They're beating Vegas right now, and they have Game 6 tomorrow night in Montreal, a chance to wrap up the series and go to the Stanley Cup Finals against the winner of this series. And if the Islanders can't win it, I want Montreal to win it. Why? I'm not a big, and trust me, most hockey people outside of Montreal are not Montreal fans. They're considered the New York Yankees of hockey. They spend a lot of money, and they won all these cups back when there weren't as many teams, but they were the last Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup back in 1993, and that was after they beat these guys in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they went on to beat the Wayne Gretzky-led LA Kings in 1993. With Patrick Waugh as their goalie, and if these guys can't do it, I sure hope Montreal beats either these guys or or Tampa Bay Lightning, because I can't cheer for those warm weather teams. If it's Tampa Bay and Vegas in the final, that's my own special hell, and I probably will not watch. All right, guys, thanks for listening to me babble. Talk to you guys soon, hopefully with some more interesting stuff. All right, bye.